Calculating route. Please proceed to highlighted route.
A pinch of celebrity isn't a recipe that's going away.
The ongoing onslaught of celebrity tequila brands, I just don't know when people will get sick of them. I'm surprised you can still come out with a tequila brand as a celebrity and still find there's some pretty decent ones. I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is like someone who was like a really hands-on partner with his tequila producer.
At Terramana, we put mana into every step of our small batch process.
Terramana, by the US megastar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Rodrigo tells me off mic that they have been in touch to find out how they can become bat-friendly. Terramana says that their exploration of the bat-friendly movement is still in the early stages and something they're excited about, but it's a little too soon to contribute to this program. Would having a well-known brand like this one on board be a win for Bat Friendly? Author Ted Genoways.
So many of the producers, the agave producers, are independent and sell, essentially on contract or independently to these larger brands, that if 2 or 3 of these brands said, this is our established protocol, everyone would follow that just because you didn't know who you were going to be selling to 7 to 10 years down the road.
Chantal Martineau.
I don't know. I can see both sides of that. That's kind of the question, isn't it? Can you continue to make tequila in an ethical way, really, if you're also trying to make a profit?
I ask Rodrigo, given the controversies, the debates, the push and pull of commercial interests, what's next for the Bat-Friendly program?
The Bat-Friendly tequila program is growing very slowly because we have a huge bottleneck, and that bottleneck is me. I need to replicate this effort and in every state have a team of people, and then the Bat-Friendly program is really going to go through the roof.
And do you plan to retire?
Absolutely not. I have plans, I have dreams, I have energy. I am the happiest when I am in the field. That is my happy place.
Who will take the helm after Rodrigo, and whether they'll have the energy to run Bat-Friendly will be critical to the project's future. For now, Rodrigo is working hard with his tiny team to try and build something from the ground up, something he's proud to call his own. This has been the documentary from the BBC World Service. It was a bespoke media production, with thanks to Marisol Tipacio and Marco Reyes. The program was mixed by Peregrine Andrews.
Distribution on the BBC World Service in the United States is made possible by American Public Media, producer and distributor of award-winning public radio content, engaging audiences, creating meaningful experiences, fostering conversations. APM, American Public Media, with support from JLL, providing tools to help businesses align their real estate objectives as work evolves at unprecedented speed. JLL.com. JLL, see from right away. Made possible by your financial support. Public Radio 89.5, ATS HD1 Tulsa.
Support for Public Radio Tulsa is provided by Night Mosaic Cremation, serving Tulsa for over 85 years. Night Mosaic offers comprehensive simple cremation services. More at 918-742-5556. Night Mosaic, simple, respectful cremation. Hello, I'm Claudia Hammond. Health Check is coming up after news, when I'll be looking at the psychology of curiosity with the help of the astronaut Tim Peake, 2 psychologists and a live audience at the Cheltenham Science Festival in the UK. Is curiosity good for us, and why does it drive some to explore the ends of the earth and beyond, while others really aren't very curious at all? And what impact can curiosity have on our memories? All coming up on Health Check from the BBC.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Heavily armed police in the United States are continuing to hunt for the killer of the influential conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The 31-year-old, a close ally of Donald Trump, was shot dead at a university in Utah on Wednesday. The president said he was filled with grief and anger at what he called a heinous assassination. Hundreds of South Korean workers who were detained during an immigration raid at a factory in the US state of Georgia last week are being sent home. They were arrived at an airport. Washington claimed they were in the country illegally, which South Korea disputes. The international charity Save the Children says more than 3/4 of children in Sudan are out of school. It says the continuing civil war has left the country facing one of the world's worst education crises. Nepal's military is resuming talks with protesters to pick the country's interim leader. Violent anti-corruption demonstrations toppled the government earlier this week. Britain is to mass-produce interceptor drones to help Ukraine defend itself from Russian air attacks. The announcement is part of a technology-sharing agreement. The German parliament has voted to lift the immunity of a far-right politician with allegations of bribery and money laundering. Maximilian Krah denies taking money from Chinese sources during his time as a member of the European Parliament. Prosecutors in South Africa are reopening the arrest into the death of the prominent anti-apartheid leader Steve Biko nearly 50 years ago. He died protested against plans by China to create a nature reserve in a disputed area of the South China Sea. Manila says the scarp shark is in its territory. ABC News.
Hello and welcome to Health Check from the BBC. Today I'm at the Cheltenham Science Festival in the UK and I'm here with an audience to talk about a subject that I think would be close to the hearts of anyone attending a science festival, and I reckon to anyone who listens to the BBC World Service. Now in my job I get to read up on new topics every week and then ask all sorts of people all sorts of questions. I get to be very nosy in a way. You could say I get paid for being curious. So I am looking forward to delving into the psychology of curiosity. Now I'm not the only person who's turned curiosity into a profession, and we've put together a panel of people for whom curiosity is in some ways at the centre of what they do. So they are Tim Peake, the astronaut, test pilot and author, and his lifelong curiosity took him to live for 6 months on the International Space Station. And while he was there, he famously ran the London Marathon on a treadmill and is the first British astronaut to have walked in space. We also have Gosha Gotswaska, who's a lecturer in psychology at the University of Bath. Now, she researches some of the more unusual emotions we experience, such as curiosity, awe, and surprise. And Matthias Gruber is a reader in psychology at the University of Cardiff, and his research focuses on the neuroscience of curiosity and learning. Please welcome our curious panel. Tim, there was one moment on the International Space Station when your curiosity was particularly piqued, if you'll excuse the pun. You were looking out of the window and you saw some unusual lights and you wondered what they were.
I did, and to put this into context, in the daytime in space you shouldn't really see lights. What you see is the blackness of space, because the sun blocks out the stars and any other lights. So if you see a light, it's a spacecraft coming towards you, and that happens when we have a crew changeover or a cargo vehicle. And on this particular morning I saw 3 lights and thought that's strange because we weren't due any spacecraft that day. And I called over my crewmate Jeff Williams and said, what do you make of those? And we were both just umming and ahhing, thinking, is it time to jump on the radio and tell Houston that we've made first contact? And we have, 3 spacecraft approaching the International Space Station when Yuri floated through and he said the Russian loo is leaking. And our spaceship turned out to be urine that was freezing and crystallizing and reflecting the lights back from the sun. And so it wasn't first contact.
Yeah, not quite as exciting as other lights.
No. The morning went rapidly downhill after that.
And allow me a moment of curiosity, because it's not often I get to meet an astronaut, but what is the thing you most miss about living in space?
I miss the camaraderie, actually. What an environment to live in. But I guess the 2 things that are completely unique up there, it's the view and it's weightlessness. And both of them are incredible. And that's, piques your curiosity definitely when you're weightless and all these changes are happening to your body. And then at the same time, you look out the window and you just see 200 billion stars of our Milky Way galaxy up there as well. And you can't help but ask yourself the big questions.
That does just sound absolutely amazing. Gosha, would you say, are you a curious person?
I don't know. I think as a scientist I tend to be a slightly skeptical person, questioning person. So I might be curious about the answers to, is this right? So maybe it's a curiosity, but about a very specific topic.
And what about you, Matthias? Are you curious?
I am curious, but about specific things.
We've got something to make you all a bit curious, maybe. Tim, it's 10 years this year since your trip to the International Space Station, and you've brought along something which went on that journey with you. Can we have a look?
Yes.
You've got this bag here.
Okay, so here we go.
So you're getting some little rubber things out of a bag, and it's almost like a rubber band, but that doesn't go round in a band, and it's got a little ring on one end. You're passing them along now. Thank you, I'll have one of these. It's got a little ring on one end, and it's pointy on the other end, and it is a kind of pale beigey colour, and it's quite stretchy, this band. Oh, look, I can pull it like that, and it's stretchy. It doesn't look like the most high-tech piece of space equipment, but I gather it did have an important role on the space station, and I wonder if anyone in the audience can guess how these might have been used, what they were for. If you think you can guess, stick your hand up and a mic will come to you.
Is it a urethral catheter?
Oh,
Fine. It looks like a catheter. I mean, I want to put this down now. We seem to have really started on a kind of urine theme here, I noticed. Thank you for that. Anyone else got a guess?
Is it some kind of tether?
Anybody else want to have a guess?
Is there a fastener from your spacesuit?
Is it a fastening on a spacesuit? Oh, we shall find out. We shall find out later on at the end of the show what this is, but this has certainly got me wondering, so thank you for that. Now, Matthias, your research lab focuses on curiosity. Why is curiosity important?
Yeah, curiosity I think is very important for learning, and that's what we are studying mostly in our lab. So we are interested in the neuroscience of curiosity, actually what's going on in the brain when we are in a moment of curiosity. And what we found out over the last years that there's one central circuit in the brain, the dopaminergic circuit in the brain, often called the reward circuit, that basically lights up or is active when we are anticipating something that is really motivating to us.
So our brains are rewarding us for being curious.
Exactly. It's basically our brain is looking forward to the reward. It's the dopaminergic circuit is also called the wanting circuit. So it really helps us to want some specific information.
Does that make sense to you, Tim? Do you feel you're getting rewarded when you're curious?
I think so, yeah. I feel more rewarded when I find something out. And also if I realise that I've got something that I don't understand fully, then I'm naturally curious about it. I want to fill in that information gap in my knowledge.
And Gosha, you research a group of emotions known as epistemic emotions, things like awe and surprise and also curiosity. But what does that term mean exactly? What does epistemic
Calculating route. Please proceed to highlighted route. Calculating route. Please proceed to highlighted route.